Yeah, it's Cash. Get him. DJ Deuce McGuire, this hot as a log fire. Spark the lighter in the 303. We wrestle at the quarry. Golden, Colorado. Mercury Pro Wrestling Academy. Elevated wrestling. Yeah. Hashtag follow if you know the motto. Can't stop now. Got the need for speed. Combustion and concussion. Championships in my vision. I put the key in the ignition. Such an easy decision. I got a hustler's ambition. Wrestling at its best. Welcome to the show I put on for Rocky Mountain Pro. Let's go.
RMP Radio is back on the air. Hi, I am your host, Mr. Fourth Row, and I have dialed up 1870 Cool. Gonna be talking with the Rocky Mountain Pros extracurricular liaison, Zero Cool. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Mr. Fourth Row. How are you doing today?
I am doing just fine, all things considered. Just busy doing all kinds of things, but wanted to get with you and have a little chat and kind of talk about a few things here for the Rocky Mountain Pro RMP Radio audience.
Well, thank you for giving me a call, brother. I've been busy. I know you've been busy, but, never too busy for the RMP fans.
Yeah. So since the last time we talked, you are a repeat guest here on RMP Radio, which is awesome. I think you've got the most appearances now. Maybe you and Yaden. But anyways, so last time we talked, and I know this hurt you and made it was real important and sad for you, but one of the greatest basketball players of all time, there's no debating of it, Kobe Bryant passed away in a horrific helicopter accident. How'd that come about when you heard the news?
Man, so when I first heard about Kobe, I'm just gonna be honest, like I thought it was a joke. My dad called me out of the blue. I was taking a nap on the couch, actually. I had just gone out the night before, and I was still wearing my Kobe Bryant jersey and my Kobe Bryant jacket, actually. And so I'm sitting there, and I get a phone call, and my dad tells me that Kobe Bryant died. And I got a little bit of an attitude, and I was like, "What did you just say to me?" Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash." And I was like, "Man, I don't have time for this." I hung up on him, and I looked it up online, and there was nothing. And I was like, "Man, this is bull. I can't believe my dad would try to play that joke on me. What kind of stuff is this?" And then all of a sudden, after I got done doing my research, I turned on my TV to ESPN, and all of a sudden there was a helicopter crash, and they said that Kobe Bryant died, and then I knew it was real. And I can't lie, bro. Like I cried for a good 6-7 hours straight. That hurt my heart, bro. Yeah. Like it just did.
Yeah, because we right. I know, I got you. Because we with social media, we get all the hoaxes all the time, and it's like, okay, I gotta go. It's like we have to be kind of suspicious of that kind of stuff. And like you said, it's like, no, don't play with me.
Yeah, I was hurt, bro. I was like, don't you do that to me. I had a great night last night. Everything went really well. Business was booming. Life was great. And then all of a sudden, everything came to a screeching halt, bro. Like I cried like a newborn baby for a good 4 hours straight, bro. I couldn't deal with it. It hurt me so bad. Kobe Bryant, for those who don't know, I've been a Kobe Bryant fan since I was a little kid. I was 9 years old when my dad bought me my first Lakers jersey, and he bought me my first Kobe Bryant jersey 6 months before Kobe won his first championship. I still have that jersey today. It still fits, actually. Yeah. Yeah, but the Kobe was my motivation, man. Like, the way he attacked basketball, the way he just the ruthless aggression and the mentality that Kobe had when he was playing basketball, I tried to incorporate that in how I handle myself in everyday life. Yeah. And so when I finally found out that it was true that Kobe was really gone, man, it was I've never had a celebrity death hit me like that. Like famous people die all the time, and yeah, it sucks because they have fans, but realistically speaking, Kobe Bryant was like, he was a part of everybody's family. Like, we met this kid when he was 17 years old.
Right.
He gave us 20 years of his life straight in front of the cameras, working his ass off day after day after day after day. And there was a lot of successes, but there was a lot of failure too. And it's like you felt like you knew the dude personally, and you hear about all the cool stuff that he's doing for girls' youth basketball and helping coach his daughter's team and being a great dad, being a great girl dad, which a lot of guys struggle with. And just to have it all taken away so quickly, and then to add insult to injury, like his baby was with him.
Yeah.
And there were 7 other people on that flight, and like they don't get nearly the attention that Kobe does, and they died. They had loved ones too. And,
yeah. It's tough. I know it impacted you a lot. But one thing I was going to ask you about, because I know a lot of people knew that Kobe was your guy, and how'd that feel getting that jersey from your peers?
Man, that was the coolest thing that ever happened, actually, to me. Like, I've gone through a lot of really awesome stuff in my life, man, and people have given me some really creative and really awesome gifts. Yeah. But the final boss, Bruce Wayans, dialed me up and he said, "Zero, I got something for you, and I can't tell you what it is, but I'm going to surprise you." And I got excited, man. I couldn't think about what it was. I was like, why the hell would he get a gift for me? And what could he possibly have gotten me? Yeah. And then show day comes up, and I'm getting ready for my match, and the final boss is getting ready for his match, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, cool. Come here real quick." Yeah. And he pulled out this this really awesome warm-up jacket, man. And it's a baby blue Lakers throwback warm-up jacket, but it's like personalized per player, right? And so he gave me a vintage number 8 baby blue Kobe Bryant warm-up jersey jacket. Yeah. And it is the most unique. It's the most unique piece of Kobe memorabilia that I have. Like, I have a lot of plaques around the house. I even have some that still says 4-time NBA champion that need to be updated to newer versions of them. But it's just that jersey, getting that jersey from the final boss, like, just around all the people that I care about and all the people that care about me, it was a very, very awesome experience. And so, Bruce Wayans, the final boss, thank you, brother. You really have no idea how much that jacket means to me, man. Yeah.
And how awesome was it to I don't know what the right word is, to get that jacket to come down the entrance ramps a few times at some RMP events?
Oh man! So as soon as I got it, I was like, "Yeah, this is going to become a new piece of my entrance gear. I'm gonna rock this. I'm gonna rock Kobe all day, every day." And it fits, man, because anybody who knows me, anybody who talks basketball with me for 5 minutes, knows that I'm a diehard Kobe Bryant fan. There's nothing anybody can do to change my mind. Kobe Bryant, in my opinion, is the greatest basketball player that ever lived. I'm very hard-headed about that. Yeah. But if people could say LeBron's the best, I could say Kobe's the best, right?
Yeah, I agree. It all kind of depends on who, like we talked before, we've talked online, offline, etc. It all kind of depends on when you grew up and what you were influenced by.
Exactly, man. And so while I was dealing with the Kobe thing, like I listen to Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp every day. Yeah, that's something I do every day. It's something I could do at work, and it's just awesome because it's like it's never-ending sports debate, and that's something I love, like, wholeheartedly. I love just to argue with people, and it doesn't even really have to mean anything. You can just argue stats or whatever. Yeah. Right. But then Skip Bayless started talking about this ESPN piece that was coming up, and it was right after we had lost Kobe, and they were talking about doing a they were talking about doing a documentary about Michael Jordan and the 1998 Chicago Bulls.
Ah.
And honestly, man, like as much as I was hurting over Kobe, like it just like because Kobe and Mike were so similar,
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of drawn to that, especially because I knew the story. Like I was a kid when Jordan was in the league and he was winning championship after championship after championship, and I had heard the comparisons, and I knew that I knew that Kobe and Jordan like kept in touch, and they had kind of like a mentor protege relationship, but I had no idea how like actually close they were until I saw Jordan giving a eulogy at Staples Center on the day where they celebrated the life of Kobe.
Yeah.
And so after that, I got really, really excited to check out The Last Dance, man, and that was pretty epic.
Yeah, yeah. And before we talk about that, I want to ask you a couple other things that have come up in the recent news when it comes to Kobe. They have the Sports Academy retiring the Mamba name. You think that's appropriate?
Or
what's your thoughts on that? Torn?
I do. I'm torn because that was Kobe's brainchild, and like he put a lot of work into that. But at the same time, like I understand the mentality behind it because although Kobe's fingerprints are all over the school, and although it was his brainchild, and although it was his idea to develop that school, like it's not right to advertise yourself as the Mamba Sports Academy when the Mamba is no longer there.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like I understand it. Like at first I was a little upset. I was like, what are you talking about? Kobe poured a lot of his time and energy into this. And I initially felt it was disrespectful, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. And the more like just the fact that they're gonna hang his numbers up in the school, and they're not taking anything away, and they still give him his credit for helping build the reputation of the Sports Academy. I respect that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I thought that would be the way, but thought I'd ask you in all earnest as well. So that's great. Okay, so let's talk about So, I mean, what in all honesty, what kind of synergistic energy that the Last Dance came out over the last 5 weeks with everything that's happening in the world, and it drew huge rating numbers. You watched all of it. I watched all of it. What was some of the things that your takeaways and everything that kind of maybe surprised you, or your thoughts on the whole thing, the whole series?
So I absolutely adored The Last Dance. I thought that I always felt that Michael Jordan, like given proper context, or had Jordan played in the age of social media, everybody would see him in a little bit of a different light, and he wouldn't be so godlike. Because when a lot of people talk about meeting Jordan or seeing Jordan, they talk about, oh, he's on another level. He's like he puts off an energy, like, and I get that because when you meet certain people, that's what happens. Like the Mick Jaggers of the world, the Michael Jordans of the world, just certain people give off that energy, and that's fantastic. But at the same time, he's a man too, and it was nice to see that Jordan was actually human and see some of the trials and tribulations that he had to play through, and watching him talk about the difference between playing at 45 versus playing wearing 23. Like also the most important thing that I took away from The Last Dance was I think Dennis Rodman might be the greatest athlete of all time.
All things considered, huh?
Listen, there are guys that have won more rings. There are guys that have way more all-star appearances. There are guys that play better defense. But Rodman took it to another level. He skipped practice during the NBA Finals to go and beat up Diamond Dallas Page with a chair. And then he partied with the NWO.
Yeah. Rodzilla.
Rod, everybody needs a Rodzilla shirt or a Rodzilla jersey. It's just how I feel on the matter.
I kind of popped when towards the beginning of the series when they introduced everybody. You know, I'm Michael Jordan. You know, North Carolina, da 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 da. Scottie Pippen. You know, Central Arkansas, and then Rodden goes, Dennis Rodman, what up? I was like, oh, that's perfect. That was perfect.
Oh yeah, man. And Rodzilla has always been good for that sort of stuff. He's led the most interesting life out of anybody who's ever walked the earth. He got to win championships with Michael Jordan, and then got to become best friends with a North Korean dictator.
Yeah,
the best of both worlds, brother.
Yeah, and his relationship with Carmen Electra, and you know.
The Carmen Electra story might have been the most entertaining thing on The Last Dance. That was great.
That's true. Yeah.
For those of you who haven't seen The Last Dance, what I'm talking about is Dennis Rodman in the middle of the season went to Phil Jackson and told him while they were on a break, there were no games being played or anything, that he was going to go to Vegas for a few days. Phil said, okay, that's fine, because Phil Jackson's a Zen master and he doesn't get angry and he doesn't do petty things. Mm-hmm. But he told Rodzilla he had to be back by a certain time and that he was going to send somebody to pick him up for practice. Rodman said, okay, cool, no problem. So on the last night of his little mini vacation, him and Carmen Electra, him being Rodzilla, Rodzilla and Carmen Electra partied their asses off. And Dennis is laying down in the bed, sleep, and Carmen hears somebody knocking at the door, and it's Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So she hides behind the curtains, basically, while Jordan comes in the apartment, gets Rodman, throws him in the shower, takes him out the shower, and takes his ass to practice. That's a good teammate right there. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You gotta have extra and Jordan gets like a very, very a bad rep for not being a friendly guy.
Yeah.
But like you gotta be friends with people, or like you have to be good friends with somebody to like go into their house while they're asleep, pick them up, throw them in the shower, and then throw them in your car. Mm-hmm. You know. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts? What was something that you saw in The Last Dance that you didn't know about until you saw the documentary?
Well, you know, there's a lot of stuff that, of course, I did know. You know, of course, a lot of the gambling stuff came out at the time of, Jordan's father's death. You know, and shame on the media for trying to, make that be why it happened. But at least that kind of got quashed, fairly quickly. It seemed like that they put that out there. What kind of, I kind of basically did know most of the stories. I did read the Second Coming book by Stan Smith. So I did read that when that happened. And he was in this series a couple times, I think, especially towards the beginning. All the other stuff. But the kind of takeaway that I kind of took away was the candid interviews now. Michael Jordan with, them showing him with the iPad or the tablet or whatever. The interviews from the other players and his reactions of what they said in this whole thing. And I think that was kind of made those interviews with those other people talking about this, and Jordan's reactions were just were great, and I think they just enhanced all that even more, because some of Jordan's reactions were eye rolls or laughter or all kinds of stuff, and tears of joy from his mom, watching what his mom was talking about and all that kind of stuff like that. So that's what I really enjoyed, and the biggest takeaways I got. And one of the biggest things too, and I talked to when I talked to KT Dub on the last episode of RMP Radio, what Steve Kerr said about his relationship with him, and how he did push people to get better, but then that last shot in that one game he gave to Kerr, and he gave him that wink and that smirk, and it's like, see, that's what I was doing this all for.
Yeah, man, and it's cold because like a lot of people, especially like right after when they hear about the style with which Jordan led, which basically like take your teammates' weaknesses and turn them into strengths, or find somebody with the thinnest skin on the team and needle them until that skin gets a little bit thicker.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people will tell you, oh, well, that's bullying, and that wouldn't work in today's NBA, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And they're right. It wouldn't work in today's NBA.
Uh-huh.
That's why teams might win 2, maybe 3 titles in close proximity, but nobody three-peats anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wins 5 championships anymore. Like that's over with. That unfortunately, and I hate to say it like this, but that kind of died with Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a right and a wrong way to lead people. And Jordan said it best in the documentary, like, you push people, and sometimes they don't want to be pushed. You drag people along, and sometimes they don't want to be dragged along. But the important thing is, regardless of how hard you are on that person or how much you expect of them, you never ask anything of anybody that you aren't willing to do yourself.
Right. Yeah, and the way I looked at it too is that he had his core group of people around him, and then there was all these interchangeable players throughout the 6 championships that it's like they're brought in, and Jordan had to kind of mold them in the quote unquote harsh way to fit in with the team. And it's like, this is how we're going to win. This is what I need you to do for the team. But you know what? You don't know this yet, but this is going to make you better.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and even to the point of when what he was doing to Scott Burrell. Pardon my language, but calling him a hoe or calling him a bitch, just to get under his skin enough to get him motivated to play with some fire.
Yeah.
Like, if you did that to if you were on an NBA team today and you did that to somebody, you would get fined and suspended.
Mm-hmm.
It's commonplace in today. It was commonplace in the 90s and even in the 80s, man.
Yeah.
People don't even really understand like how different the league was, because if you look at, for instance, if you take today's NBA and you put it side by side with the NBA from the 80s, it's not even close to the same. Just hand checking and the physicality alone is so different. And they had to, like, if Michael Jordan got to play in a generation where hand checking was illegal, he would average 50 points a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agree.
It's just like, if Jordan played in this era, it wouldn't be fair, because he was just too good, man. And his drive, his dedication to working as hard as he possibly could to be the best, something that Kobe Bryant actually inherited and used to help win himself a couple of championships. There are very few people who can walk the walk like that. And Jordan on a basketball court is definitely one of those guys.
Yeah, that's true. So, I don't know if you like the what ifs that always get posed out there, and kind of one of the big ones out there is, what if Jordan and Kobe and Shaq, played together on a team, that kind of stuff. And I mean, do you like those? Do you like seeing those, or are you just kind of, whatever?
So I saw a lot of what ifs, and I posted that the other day. What if when Phil Jackson left Chicago,
right?
What if Michael Jordan would have went with him to LA?
Right. And
the conclusion that I came to is that Shaq, Kobe, and Jordan together would have won 4 rings in a row, and then Shaq would have left the team just like how it happened in real life. But Jordan would have stayed at least 2 more years, and he would have got 6 rings with Kobe too. Like, I'm a bit like, what ifs aren't necessarily really my thing, especially normally, because we have so much going on anyway. It's better to pay attention to what's actually going on and taking a look at what could have happened if this, and this happened differently. But since we've had so much free time due to the current situation everybody is in, it's been nice to actually sit back and think about how the NBA would have played out differently if this happened, or how things would have happened differently if this had happened. Because listen, man, this all started when NBA 2K started putting classic teams on their video games. And you could play the classic teams versus the new teams. Like, I've tracked this trash talk. This is where it all comes from. Maybe not all of it. I'm pretty sure there's always been comparisons of, like, oh, well, this basketball team couldn't even compare to Bill Russell Celtics, or this, that, and the other thing. And part of me gets that, because that's part of human nature. Like, when your brain gets going and you think about it, it's like, oh man, that could have been cool as hell. But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily help. It's better to focus on what's going on currently, in my opinion. Like, but the coolest, I don't know, man. The biggest what if to me that nobody wants to talk about is not even necessarily Shaq. Say Shaq left the Lakers, right? Say Shaq didn't play with Kobe for 2000, 2001, and 2002. If the Lakers would have just had Kobe Bryant, the rest of their cast, and Michael Jordan instead of Shaquille O'Neal, they still would have three-peated. Hands down. Jordan was still the best player in the league. Kobe Bryant was on the come-up. And by the time Kobe ends up making the transition to become the best player in the league, Jordan would have been on the downside, because he really was at that point already with the Wizards.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. The funnest what if I ever thought of, though, is what if Shaquille O'Neal had Kobe Bryant's work ethic.
Right. Yeah. Good point.
I mean, and somebody actually asked Kobe that while he was still alive. You can look it up on YouTube. He said, I would have had 12 fucking rings. Pardon my language. I was just quoting Kobe.
Yeah.
But that's what he said. He said, I have 12 effing rings.
Yeah. Yeah. They, from what I gather, they did trash talk each other in the media and the social media every once in a while, huh?
Oh man, it was like that on social media everywhere, but it was also like that at practice. Like, they would be practicing, and Shaq's thing, especially at practice, was he was a big dude and he didn't like to expend a lot of energy. He didn't want to run back and play defense. So the most famous fight that Kobe and Shaq ever got in at practice was actually Shaq told Kobe to give him the ball, and Kobe said, no, I don't want you to use any more energy on offense. Get your big ass back there and play some defense.
Ah. Wow.
Yeah. Kobe had no fear, man. Kobe, he was just real, and he wanted everybody to work as hard as he worked, and unfortunately that wasn't the case a lot of the time.
Yeah, true. So I know I believe you've seen the meme out there about who the MVP of The Last Dance was. What's your vote?
Well, the MVP of The Last Dance, it's hard for me to say. After I just put Rodzilla over so hard, it's hard for me to say anybody else.
Right.
But, I mean, if we're being honest about it, like, just the transparency and the fact that he finally allowed himself to be humble and be appreciated and actually be human with everybody, I think you have to give it to Jordan.
Yeah.
And I know that's biased because it's his thing. He had final say over everything. And there's probably a lot that we didn't get to see.
Oh, no, yeah.
But this is the most open that he has ever been with fans and media alike, and just the fact that he was willing to open that up, especially at a time in America when a lot of people were still hurting for various reasons, and we were all across the world, we were all put on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And so just the fact, like, you got to give it to Michael, man. You got to. And if it's not Mike, then it's got to be Rodzilla.
Okay, so we could say the meme MVP is Rodzilla, but the true or the actual series MVP probably is Jordan.
Yeah. Like regular season or regular season MVP, Rodzilla. But if we're talking about the finals, obviously it's got to be Jordan.
Yeah, cool. All right, so hey, transitioning from there, another thing to kind of debate about that you've put out there, and I asked you if you'd like to talk about, and you said sure thing. Dream Team versus Redeem Team. Who's you've put it out there? You know, who's better? What and and I've I put it out to you. I think Dream Team is just because of who's going to start and their bench and stuff like that. But what's your arguments? You want to let the RMP radio listeners know for the Redeem Team?
All right, man. So I'm just going to put it to you plain and simple. The Dream Team versus the Redeem Team comes down to a one-on-one player battle.
Okay.
It comes down to Kobe Bean Bryant versus Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Now, 1992 was the Dream Team.
Mm-hmm. Jordan
was 29 years old, and he was pretty good, but he wasn't the Mike that we would come to know and love.
Mm-hmm.
By the time 2008 rolled around, Kobe Bryant had already won 3 championships and won an MVP, and was on the all-defensive team 7 straight years. 29-year-old Kobe Bryant is better than 29-year-old Michael Jordan. If you compare them year by year, like age to age, Kobe Bryant was better than Michael Jordan was at age 29. Now, the reason that I say the rest of the teams don't matter is because realistically, the Dream Team would have been a much, much superior defensive team. But on offense, it would have been the complete other way, because you still have, on top of Kobe Bryant, you still have LeBron James, you still have Dwayne Wade, you still have Carmelo Anthony, you still have Darren Williams, CP3, Jason Kidd, who was a hell of a point guard, Chris Bosh, and Carlos Boozer were the bigs for that team, which don't necessarily, like, when you think about it, it doesn't necessarily equal Malone and Ewing, because Malone and Ewing were much, much bigger guys. But I think that also gives them an advantage too, because both Boozer and Bosh were all-stars in their own right, and they both had a way better long-range game than Malone or Ewing.
Mm.
So realistically, I think that when it comes right down, and Larry Bird was a broken-down shell of himself who only played 5 minutes a night because of how bad his back was at the time, and Magic Johnson had just retired,
right,
and had not played basketball in over 18 months. So, like, and I get it. The Dream Team was great because it had all of the greatest players for multiple generations. You had Jordan, you had Bird, you had Magic, you had Ewing, you had Malone, you had John Stockton, who's still the leader in assists and steals, actually. Like, the Dream Team was nothing to mess with, but I don't think that even with their defensive prowess, I don't think that they would have been able to match up with the offensive onslaught that would be brought on by the Redeem Team.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I personally, I think that the Dream Team, though, I think those guys knew each other better because they played for so long against each other at the, when that team was assembled.
My argument for that is, do you not remember the Banana Boat Gang?
The Banana Boat Gang. You have to remind me. It's not ringing.
Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Chris Paul, who vacationed together every offseason for like 6 or 7 straight years, 4 of which were prior to joining the Redeem Team.
Oh, okay.
And then Kobe and Mike are basically a wash.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
No matter how you cut it, yeah, Kobe was more seasoned and he had more accomplished by age 29,
Mm-hmm.
but Mike was still Mike. I think LeBron James is a better small forward than Scottie Pippen. I think Carmelo Anthony is a better scorer than Charles Barkley. Clyde Drexler is a great player, but he is not even close to the same caliber as Dwayne Wade. And again, like
there's no right or wrong answers with all this. It's tough to know because it's not, everybody has their own.
Exactly, man. Everybody has their own opinion, and it's just analyzing. It's just analyzing stats and analytics and trying to form your own opinion based on that.
Right.
But I think honestly, more than the actual players themselves, I think that the rules in which they play under would have more to do with the final outcome than the actual players.
That's a good point. I was kind of almost thinking along that same lines, and also too, there's a reason why these two teams have the nickname that they do, because it was time for USA to say we're number one in basketball, and we're going to be number one in basketball again.
Yeah, and the Dream Team was something special because we had never seen that many All-Stars on the same team before.
Yeah,
we had never seen all of the great players in, like, other than the All-Star game, obviously, but
right.
Even that was divided East and West. Like, the Dream Team was the first time that we saw all of the greatest basketball players in America playing on one team.
Right, and the one token college player.
Yeah, and Christian Laettner, who never even got off the bench. Poor kid. But you know what though, man? Like that experience had to be killer. Like being a college player and being surrounded by that much greatness.
Yeah.
I feel very, very strongly that like Christian Laettner should have been a better NBA player based solely off of the fact that he played for the Redeem Team.
Right, all that he could have soaked up.
Yeah,
in that time. Yeah,
for real.
So let me ask you a parallel. So there has been a call, with stuff going on right now. Of course, I'm, a bigger baseball fan, and USA never has really thrown out the All-Stars for their team representing them in the Olympics. And one of the biggest, which I think is kind of being a hypocrite in my opinion, one of the biggest people calling that we should be doing that right now is Bryce Harper, who has never played for the Olympics team. But what do you think, just along that line, and even that second point, that USA baseball should do that and not succumb to the other nations in the Olympics?
So my view on this is very, very simplistic. As far as other nations go, their professional athletes have been playing in the Olympics for generations.
Mm-hmm.
I think fair is fair, and I think if you're going to let pro teams from one country play, I think you have to let pro players from all countries play, whether that be in baseball, basketball, whatever the sport is. If France gets to let somebody or South Korea gets to let somebody from their pro squad play, then America should have the right to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Especially with baseball, because baseball is our pastime.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that just like the All-Star system in all of the leagues currently, actually, NBA, MLB, NFL, whatever sports you watch, the All-Star selection system is very, very flawed because it's controlled by a handful of players and media, basically. I think what they should do is what they used to do back in the 80s to late 90s, and I think that they should take the opinions of all of the players, and that should be the majority. That should be the baseline. Like, you can add fan votes if you want, and you can even add media votes if you want, but I think the deciding factor on who plays for the Olympic teams and who plays for the all-star teams, I think the majority of that should be based on the opinions of the players.
So they're peers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you've been a baseball fan your whole life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, for a long time.
So have I. Little known fact. So like my favorite teams are all over the place. For basketball, obviously, diehard Lakers fan. Mm-hmm. But for baseball, it's a little bit different. I am actually a Yankees fan. Reason for that being, I love Mariano Rivera. I think that he is the greatest pitcher who ever played,
Agreed.
Regardless of position.
Yeah, okay. Definitely the closer. No doubts about it.
Oh yeah. But like, even though you and I have been fans for our entire lives at this point, for me, I just turned 29. I don't want to give away your age because I feel like that's not my place. But and besides, you look so youthful. No, but in all seriousness, for real, man, like it's players are going to have a more informed opinion than we will as fans, because while we can see things and be like, oh yeah, that dude's awesome. Like, yeah, that dude definitely gets home runs or whatever, but his intangibles aren't as solid as somebody else's. Or like, yeah, homie has a killer RBI, but he's a shit teammate. You know, yeah. Like those things matter. And I feel very strongly that like in especially for Olympic sports, that should be the criteria. Like if pro athletes from anywhere get to play, then pro athletes from everywhere should be allowed to play. Yeah. Period.
Right.
The selection process should be done by the players themselves for the most part. The media and the fans can give a couple of selections if they want, have one media selection and one fan selection, and then have the rest be from the players.
I wholeheartedly agree with that, because I hate the all-star voting because it's just a popularity vote. It's like the people aren't looking about what's happening this year with the players, because there's snubs all over the place when it comes to the fan voting and everything. So I mean, I totally agree with that. Like I said, I hate that, you know. And then of course, you know, I do think that there should always be, you know, despite you know how they're performing, but if there is a player that has already retired, you know, that they're going to retire, that they should be in there a perennial all-star, like a, you know, the year Cal Ripken and Tony Gwynn retired, that they should definitely go to the all-star game that year, no matter what. But that's just my opinion. So
yeah, I totally understand, man. I totally understand exactly what you're talking about, and it's just it's a crying shame, because like using the NBA as an example, LeBron James could just say that he's in the, like, he doesn't have to play another game. He could just say that he's in the league, and for the next 5-6 years, he would still be the number one all-star vote getter.
Right.
Oh,
That's a great point. You know, and then, you know, another thing too, and oh man, another podcast I listened to, one of their hosts always bashes the baseball owners, but when it comes to one of the things that when it comes to, you know, just to kind of wrap up the Olympics for baseball, the owners don't want it because their players are going to be off for 2 weeks doing the Olympics and losing revenue, and it's like, oh, so freaking what? That's you know.
To hell with that, man. Like, the Olympics are about national pride.
Exactly.
Michael Jordan didn't take no money when he went and played for the Olympics. Magic Johnson didn't take no money. Nobody took no money.
Yeah.
Like, and if you have a problem with people loving our country and wanting to represent our country in the biggest athletic competition in the world, then you're the problem.
Yeah. Okay, well, okay. So now, kind of on that same lines, talking owners and stuff, and there's, oh gosh, I don't know if you've heard, the back and forth between the owners and the players to get baseball going this season, let's, because I know you're more well informed on the basketball side. God, the basketball, man, that just hurt the season. And I have not, unfortunately, kept up too closely. But what's going on with basketball? What are they thinking? What's the thing proposals put out there for?
So from what I've heard, the NBA is looking at isolating 2 locations: one location in Las Vegas and one location in Disneyland in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And all the teams from the Eastern Conference will be playing in Florida. All the teams from the Western Conference will be playing in Las Vegas. And so from the last update that I saw, and we're supposed to get another update at the end of the month, but from the last update that I saw, Adam Silver has publicly stated that the owners and the players are in agreement and they want to finish the season, even if that means finishing up in August. So even with no fans in the stands, the NBA's plan is to move forward as soon as they can safely, which I wholeheartly endorse.
Yeah.
And not just because my Lakers were number 1 in the West when everything was shut down.
Yeah.
But I just as a country, as a whole, we unite around sports.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about the Dream Team and the Redeem Team. You could talk about the Miracle on Ice. You could talk about when the Red Sox broke the curse and beat the Yankees in 2004. There's just, as a nation, we rally around our sports teams, and it picks up our morale, and it gives everybody a small injection of happiness in an otherwise very bleak world.
Yeah.
Same with wrestling, man. It's thank God that they kept going, by the way. And by they, I mean Impact, WWE, AEW, all the promotions that have been able to record and put out content safely. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you want to follow CDC guidelines and make sure that you don't spread anything crazy. But that's really been the only form of live entertainment that we've had during this entire.
Right. Yeah, I agree, and I was, like I said, I was talking to KT Dub at the time of this recording yesterday about how AEW seemed like they kind of stumbled a little bit trying to figure out how they were gonna do this, but with the storylines and how they were gonna have certain talents on what shows, but I think they finally figured it out. For example, so that's kind of nice. And I mean, for me, baseball, I started watching the Taiwanese league. Believe it or not, that's crazy, man, stuff.
My dad was watching South Korean baseball earlier today.
Yeah, yeah, and the imported fans, the ordered fans. Did you hear about that? That they had there in the Korean leagues?
No, I didn't.
They ordered. They thought they ordered mannequins, dummies, but they were actually they accidentally got shipped sex robots.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And they had no idea when they were dressing them, and then nobody said anything when they were dressing them, putting them in the seats that something was amiss. No red flags. So it's like, all right, okay.
So what? They just thought that they got super lifelike mannequins?
Yeah, I guess so.
How did? So if nobody. Okay, and I hate to be this guy. I really hate to be this guy, but somebody's got to be this guy, so I'll be this guy. So if nobody noticed while they were dressing these robots, and I use that term loosely.
Yeah.
Did somebody just find a janitor undressing a fanikin? how do you make that discuss? Like, if nobody notices anything's amiss, how do you realize? Like, did it talk? Did the mouth move?
Well, I didn't, I'm not too, I mean, I've only caught glimpses here and there, but, just like they just couldn't figure it out from how they were shaped, they were articulated, all this kind of stuff like that. It's like, nothing didn't seem out of the ordinary with these that you ordered, and you decided to still go ahead and put them in the seats.
Well, I mean, they are lifelike and they do look like you. You know what happened? I figured it out. I did a little detective work and I figured it out. The mannequins were shipped to the wrong place, and the mannequins and the sex robots got flipped. See, what happened was Rodzilla's homie ordered some robots, and it was at the same time the South Korean League ordered the mannequins.
Oh,
mystery solved.
There you go.
Mystery solved. Now we just need to convince Rodzilla to stay off of his homie's Amazon account.
That is true. Very, very good points. Awesome. Hey, I think that is a fantastic place to wrap this edition of RMP Radio up. But before I do let you go, in the meantime, before everything gets while we're still on pause with the wrestling and stuff, people wanted to hit you up on the social medias. Where could they do that?
So you can find me on Facebook at the Extracurricular Liaison Zero Cool. Extracurricular is spelled with an X and not an E because I'm a '90s kid and that's how we do. Otherwise than that, you can find me at 0_cool-20 on all other forms of social media, Instagram, Twitter. Otherwise than that, you can catch me on Rocky Mountain Pro. And if you want to chop it up on Facebook or whatever, holla at your boy.
All right. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you once again for coming on to this edition of RMP Radio. And, until we get back in the arena, I'll be continue to communicate with you online and whatever other means to dial you up.
Hey, please do. I look forward to it.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Once again, a huge, big thank you to Zero Cool for coming on this edition of RMP Radio, and once again entertaining the RMP Radio audience and talking a lot of basketball and a little bit of baseball. It was a fantastic, fun time. All right, let's pay some bills like they used to say back in the day. You want to get some merchandise from your favorite Rocky Mountain Pro superstars, head over to the website at rmpwrestling.com, click on the merchandise link, or if you're on Amazon's website or the Amazon app, search for Rocky Mountain Pro, and you'll be able to pull up all kinds of great shirts, hats, etc. from there. And like I mentioned on the last episode, the Memorial Day sale at Pro Wrestling Tees. A lot of your Rocky Mountain Pro superstars have stores up there. This weekend is the Memorial Day weekend, so starting on Thursday the 21st, 20% off, and orders of $150 and more get free shipping. So I hope a lot of you out there will take advantage of that and support the guys and gals in the meantime while things are on pause here. All right, well, upcoming events, of course, like I said, nothing happening, but still a lot happening on the twitch.tv/Rocky Mountain Pro channel. Lots of great shows on there, so if you are a Amazon Prime subscriber, we would love for you to throw your support. You do get a free subscription included with your Amazon Prime, and you just need to do, if you do that, make sure you re-up that subscription and subscribe to Rocky Mountain Pro every month with your Prime membership, because you do have to do that. So you can watch that. You can watch some great shows, such, of course, as the Rocky Mountain Pro Rewind, Punished by Pixels, Up, Up, Down, Down. I believe that's the name of it, with Hazardous. Well, My Lips Aren't Sealed, with Jumbo Zamore. All kinds of great shows there. Of course, also check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/Rocky Mountain Pro. You can catch us on our episodes on Fight TV, current up to as much as we can right there, but of course you can watch all the previous episodes there, so you want to start binge watching, we would appreciate that. You can of course find us kind of on Right Now TV when things start happening again, Impact Plus .tv and Fight Network UK. You want to follow us, see what we do have happening in the meantime. Everything does stem from the website at rmpwrestling.com and on the socials of Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram of all of the Rocky MTN Pro. And as always, let me phonetically spell that for you. That's the Rocky Mike Tango November Pro. And a very, very special thank you for everybody that listens to RMP Radio, where pro wrestling is elevated.